All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're a couple minutes late, a couple minutes behind as people have continued to trickle in. Didn't want everybody to be in the cafeteria and me talking to very few of you. But we will try to, I know that with this being the last day before school starts, I don't want to keep you here all night long. We'll try to move through this as quick as possible. I think I looked at the video last year, year one for me. We did it in an hour and 3 minutes. I'm going to do it in quicker than that. That's going to be the goal. So can start timing me now. But we appreciate all of you who have come tonight. I know we offer it as a live stream as well as you being able to go to the website and watch it. And we also now let people sign in before the meeting. So you guys are the very honest ones that didn't sign in and walk out the door. So I appreciate that. We're going to kind of move step by step and go through some important things that I want you as parents and guardians to know as we kick things off and try to answer some questions for you. And then we'll introduce you to our new athletic trainer and Jennifer Bales with the Booster Club. We'll talk to you for a little bit as well. So with that, we'll get it rolling here. Go on to the if at any point anything's needed in the athletic department, we're obviously down on that end of the building where it's the air conditioner I don't think is working properly right now on that end. But it's a little warm down there, but we'll be there for your for the athletes all week long, you know, as they kind of get rolling and have some questions, especially with the Final Forms transition and everything that we have had this summer. But Luke Pearson, who's right here, is my assistant and does a lot of the supervision for junior high and has been very good to work with and very good for our athletes. Also with a lot of, if any of your athletes want to make a little extra money at times, we're often looking for, and we kind of charge Luke with the responsibility of finding workers for clocks and announcers for junior high events and JV events and some of the events that we don't have mainstream workers for. So he's somebody that they can go to if you're needing them in their off season to do anything if they're not a three-sport athlete. And Sherry Regal, who was out there selling lots of things, is obviously athletic secretary and will answer the phones and is very helpful if you need anything throughout the year as well. And this year, like I said, we have transitioned to Witham Health Services for our athletic training, and Courtney Crabtree is our athletic trainer, and she'll speak to you a little bit further in more detail about kind of the timeline if you had an injury, the communication process, how all that works, impact testing, some of those things that you hear about. All right. Last year, just want to recap quickly. We had some pretty good successes as teams and individuals last year at the high school level. And these are some of those. We won 2 sectional championships as a team in football and softball, and then did very well in swimming and diving, winning 3 sectionals. And then Logan Benson at the Carmel sectional won the high jump against all the Hamilton County schools and all of that. So quite an accomplishment. And then conference-wise, when you look at that list and you see what we're able to do, we are the smallest school in the conference. And to compete pretty regularly in many sports in the top level of the conference it shows a lot to the commitment of our parents, the commitment of our athletes, our strength and conditioning, our coaches, all across the board. Our staff, our administration, everybody's very supportive of athletics. And, it's a heartbeat of our community to an extent. So we're very proud of those accomplishments and hope to add to it as we go along this year. These are some things you'll see them posted at different points. We're doing some leadership and character and sportsmanship focused things with our athletes this year. And we began that last year by introducing, something we'll talk about in a little bit called the athletic ambassadors. We read sportsmanship statements. We do a lot of things to try to build just core values that we want the athletes of Western Boone to represent. So these are some of the things that our coaches talk to our athletes about, and that really athletics, as we know, is a vessel to learn life lessons and habits that will allow our student athletes to go out in the community and be positive impacts on our community and on any community that they end up in. So these are things that we're driving home to your son or daughter through our coaches daily. Many of you have already done this probably, but we do offer different all sports pass packages, and the prices are the same as they were last year. So family pass is probably the most prominent one that people get, but we also have others available, and I know Sherry was selling some of those. We will have her also at the scrimmage on Friday, football scrimmage, and she'll be selling passes there if you haven't gotten them, as well as obviously in the athletic office. But if you come to a lot of events, and obviously if your son or daughter is participating in a lot of events, it's well worth it. This is a weekly schedule that I put together, and the goal this year is going to be we send this out to the corporation, to individuals that need it. We're also going to tweet it out on Weibo Athletics each week, as well as sending it out on Final Forms, which we'll talk about in a little more detail. But the mass email that we get for Final Forms, we'll send that out to parents as well. Just kind of a weekly schedule for the next week. You can expect to see that, kind of cross-reference your schedule, and allow you to plan even better, I would hope. A couple things that I want to show you. We use WeiboAthletics.com a lot. And last year, I think if you're someone who keeps up with that, I think we showed that through our actions. We have our coaches give us summaries of junior high and high school events, and they turn those in by 8 a.m. the day after the event, and we post those with pictures, and it automatically tweets it, and we're very active on that. We use a website company called Varsity News Network, which over 250 high schools in the state use, and consistently we get a report on community consumption and community use from each school. And every month we end up in the top 20 in the state in usage on WeiboAthletics.com, putting us ahead of schools like Westfield, Plainfield, some of these much larger schools. So it's a testament to us using it, but it's working. You're getting to see what our athletes are doing, and we're getting an opportunity to communicate to you in an efficient way. So let's go to the site here real quick. Maybe. Do what? Just end the slideshow and see, and then if not, we'll go back to it. Okay. Technical difficulties. Good stuff. Okay, this is the site. This is what it looks like. This is live. You'll often see tweets or you'll see emails that say go to the More tab. Basically, fall, winter, and spring, that's all your schedules. All right, so if you were to just scroll over fall, you're going to see all the schedules of junior high and high school. Same thing with the winter and the spring. Photos. We upload photo galleries for each sport. You can see that. Coaches often have a certain parent who maybe takes a lot of pictures. They get them to the coach gives them to us, and we're able to post a lot of galleries. Most of the information, though, is under the More tab. Fluke will, scroll under that. Like, for instance, on the top left, we put up the first week of practices for the high school and the junior high. Now, all the high school ones have started, but there's still some junior high sports still to start, like volleyball on the 13th, 6th grade on the 20th, tennis tomorrow. There are some sports that are still kicking off, so you could find that there. All the forms that maybe are necessary, like, for instance, the playbook on how to get into Final Forms and use it correctly is on there. The student athletic handbook that's updated, that gives you all the information for the athletic handbook, is there. All the booster clubs, spotlight ads, all that stuff has been added, your list of prices. So it goes on and on, but it should be a great source for any information that you would want for the department. And then under the headquarters or the HQ, it has, some other things like the code of ethics that we talk, the core values of athletes, code of ethics, things about our athletic department that we want to kind of strive for, our belief statements, all of that. Talks about our strength and conditioning program, has Courtney's information on it, with Weibo Sports Medicine, all of that. So, and then there's some links on the far right, which is the athletic participation registration link, which is Final Forms. And then there's some NCAA eligibility sites, which we'll talk a little bit more about, NCAA Clearinghouse and all of that. But this is pretty much the place to go if you want information and you can get it. If you scroll down, Luke, there's one more. Like, keep going. Okay, under videos, I'm going to make you talk, and I'll work that thing. Parent meeting 2017-18. As of tomorrow, that'll say 2018-19. I'll be up here. We'll be struggling with the laptop. It'll be great. But there will be. And then there's a fall online store, which has a lot of new gear, some Adidas, some Hollowell, some different stuff. But, it's a site in which if you go on there now, click on that, takes you to the site. Click through that, close. It tells you basically you could order here from Kratz, which is a group that we use. Kind of scrolls through all kinds of men's apparel, women's apparel, youth. They even added things like seats this year that we had added. Book bags, scarves, there's some sandals, all kinds of things that you'd want. So if you order that, the deadline's the 19th. If you order that by midnight of the 19th, then they'll start packaging that, get it shipped to us in a couple weeks. And by the 1st of September, we get back from Labor Day, you would have that stuff for a majority of the fall. Okay? So wanted to show you that. If you go back, just click over there to Final Forms now. Okay, on the links section under More, where it said Athletic Participation Registration, this is, if you click the link, it would go to Final Forms. It would not go to this page. It would go to a login page. Many of us have done that, I would hope, because we have 79% of our athletes at this point that have that done. This is me logged in. I can see 434 athletes. 79 of them are compliant, done. And it would tell me how many have done physicals, how many have completed the athletic forms, all of this. I could go into students, which we're not going to do because I don't want to show individual students, but I can see individually. Basically, this replaces star cards. If your student is green, that's their star card. We don't have to worry about taking a picture of it. We don't have to worry about losing it. We don't have to worry about doing any of that. So it's going to be beneficial. You only have to enter it one time. If you have more than one athlete, it populates that. Okay, so if you haven't done this, we can help you with it. You can come in the athletic office or just follow the playbook under the Forms tab, and it'll get you right there to it. But Most of our fall athletes are in. These are some of the they were at 79 because some of the winter and spring athletes have not yet. But if there's any questions, we're available for any of that. But it's going to be a streamlined system, especially long term. If you have many kids going through, or you have more years to go. So we're happy with Final Forms, and we think it'll be beneficial. I know this summer we had a little bit of an issue with people figuring out how to get into emails, but as we get going on that, it's gotten better on getting into student email. All right, that's Final Forms. Let's go. We'll go on back into PowerPoint now. Okay, couple things. Student attendance in the handbook. These are some things. I know you may not read the handbook word for word, so these are some important things from a handbook perspective. You have to have your student athletes here by 10:45 a.m. every day, unless obviously it's one of those excused situations, or if you're after 10:45, or doctor's notes or something that excuses that. So our student handbook aligns with our athletic handbook to say that 10:45. It's 10:45 on Cammie's watch in the main office. Whatever hers says is what we go with. And if we're here after 10:45, then we cannot participate in practices or games if it's unexcused. So just keep that time in your mind. These are some goals, just academically. We have our coaches try to hold themselves and their athletes to high standards. We started a Star Team Pride Award. One of those criteria is that the cumulative GPAs of each team is 3.2 in the varsity sport, and we want some other things, like if you want to get academic all conference. 3.74 is the number that the conference sets for academic all conference. These are some things that are important for you to know. But for me, it's just simply saying, there's a reason that it says student athlete first. I mean, people say that, but there is a reason that it says student athlete. It doesn't say athlete student. All right, so we need our student athletes to be on top of their game academically. And our teachers are here to help with that. We're here to facilitate in any way we can. Our coaches will make it a priority. But what we strive for, is high accomplishment in the classroom and, having high achievement there. So we'll have our coaches and our staff and our athletic department here to help in any way we can from an academic perspective. I mentioned on the website NCAA Clearinghouse information. Basically, if you don't know what that is, to not go into big detail, what needs to happen is, if you believe in the bolded part there, if a student athlete has interest in being a college athlete on any level, okay, we could be talking NAIA, we could be talking Division II, Division III, junior college, any level in their mind right now, it would benefit, and they need to go to the guidance department, and they need to work with Mr. Pelly on getting through the clearinghouse, the NCAA clearinghouse. And that's just a process that basically you want to have done by your sophomore year in college if you're going to start a recruitment process, if you're going to go out and try to advocately look for colleges to participate athletically. They need you to go through that process. It's not a difficult process, but it starts at guidance. Our coaches are trained on and have been told that if athletes say that to them, hey, I might want to play collegiately in a sport, then they get them to guidance. They need to get them to guidance, and I would expect and hope that you guys would help with that as well. And the guidance department can get them through the clearinghouse. So that's something that we want to emphasize and make sure that you know. You go to Mr. Pelly and guidance and do that. Okay, multi-sport. One of the reasons also that I think we're as successful as we are is because we share athletes. I came in last year and made a big push for that. Experiences I have shown that that's key. I I coached girls basketball, and we had some success, and we did some good things. And honestly, I didn't coach a single collegiate basketball player in my time that I coached, but I may have coached some Division I athletes in other sports that were being told over and over again, you don't need to play basketball, just focus on track, just focus on soccer, whatever that sport is. And because of the relationship and the effort that I put into showing them that I cared about them as individuals, they stuck with it, and we were able to have the success that we had. I would not have that. I would not have had that success if they prioritized or specialized, I guess I should say, into one sport. And all of those kids, if I said they're Division I athlete, it's because they went on to play Division I sports, but they also played in a state championship basketball game. So those are experiences they got to have in high school, and none of their dreams were lost, and they probably are better people today for it. They have somebody in me who is an advocate for them, who would do anything I can for them. My wife would do anything they could for them. They're a part of my family now, and that's how I want our coaches to look at it. And that's how I want our parents to look at it, is there's benefits to sharing athletes. So any way that we can do that and push that, we want to recognize that. So this past year we put in the 3-sport athlete patch for the high school, and then at the junior high level, if you compete in 4 seasons, you get your numerals for your jacket in junior high. So these are things that we do to try to recognize that. These are the athletes in high school that participated in 3 sports and finished in good standing in their sport. This is the patch that they get. We'll change the year every year, or we can also, if they start getting them over and over again, then we're also going to give them pins that they could put on that. So something to recognize them. And multi-sport athletes is what makes us successful, and makes a school our size successful and allows us to compete at the level that we are competing at. So I'm a supporter of that, and we'll do anything we can to try to help facilitate that. This concept was around before I came in last year, but not a whole lot had been done on it. So we had this made. Star Pride Award sits right outside our gym. It's a team award. There's 5 criteria. Basically, the acronym spells out pride, but there's an on-field, on-court aspect of it. You need to finish in the top 3 in the conference or win a sectional. But then from there, it becomes very academic, very feeder system, very mentorship, very community service driven. From that point on. So last year, we had, those sports be able to achieve that, from boys tennis to football to girls cross country, volleyball, girls basketball, girls golf, softball, and boys track. And I want to fill up all 5 of those panes, and then we'll figure it out after that on where we can put more of them. But if teams are going up on that, then they're getting out in the community. They're making sure their freshmen are being mentored. They have the classroom. They're getting it done in the classroom. They're getting it done on the field. Every one of these teams obviously finished high in the classroom at over a 3.2 GPA cumulatively, and they also finished in the top 3 in the conference or won a sectional. So just another way to try to recognize the good that our student athletes, teams, and coaches are doing. The Breakfast Club is something that the strength and conditioning program focuses on. And last year, I think, I came in, and I think the number was 4 or 5 girls that did it the previous year, before we kind of really tried to focus on doing some things to help. Like making just a girls section, making that girls section the same time every week. It never shifted, it never fluctuated, and we're able to improve those numbers greatly on the girls side. It's something that myself, I don't not being in the classroom, for instance, obviously I'm relating to them or seeing them at events, but I was able to go in and do this year, which 19 sessions in the morning, with two young sons and a wife and all that. It's a little bit of a commitment, and I enjoyed doing it, and I did it with the freshmen. How we break down the summer is that the freshmen go and do body weight stuff. They're all in the gym. They never enter the weight room. They do not, other than to go get a med ball and bring it out. They don't do anything in the weight room. It's all about core strength and flexibility and speed and agility and cardio and all of that. So teaching them, how to squat with a PVC pipe so that they know how to squat correctly. Teaching them techniques so that when they enter into strength class as a freshman and then strength in the summer the next year, they know how to lift correctly without hurting themselves. So it's a great combination. It was neat to do it. And lots of times there's always this concern, some may be concerned whether you're a runner or this and that. I run, I've ran 8 marathons. I try to be active, and I did this, and, I don't look like the Hulk, It didn't hinder my speed. It only helped. I can now do 1-minute planks that I couldn't do, 2-minute planks, 3-minute planks, things like that. So it's very beneficial to our athletes, and so I think it's another reason why we're as successful as we are across the board in a lot of things. So to have these 64 individuals, I did not count myself, even though I'm in the women's picture over there, which is nice. Did you catch that? Great. But it's also, you don't have to be at every one because we know there'll be vacations and different things. But 16 of 19, these 64 did. All right. These are their names. We will not go through every one of them. Tryouts. Okay, we've been in the middle of that. Junior high will have a little bit more of that to go possibly. But I just want you to know from a parent perspective, everybody gets a minimum of 2 practices before there'd ever be a cut made or anything like that. Any of that should be communicated well in advance by coaches. All of that, should be well communicated, and we've educated our coaches on that as well. But I know the high schools mainly through that. The junior high will have a few more, and with volleyball and all of that still to go. But that's team tryouts and cuts. Would you and Jet like to liven this place up? As she finishes that, we got all kinds of good stuff up here. It looks like yard sign, the baseball team's hat, tumbler, shirts, family passes, all kinds of fantastic things. You're doing good. I'm just on the clock. 29 minutes in. You're good. Okay, did you lose Jet? All right. All right. First up here, looks like we have a blue Western Boone baseball team hat fitted. Number 559222. 222. 222. Okay. They're one of the ones that signed and left. I should make them write the ticket on the paper, and then we'd have them. Basketball shorts here, says stars on them. I believe they're the exact shorts that the girls' basketball team practices in. Number 380. 380. Okay, they didn't leave. That's good. We have a car decal from Boosters. Last three, 208. 208. Wow. Phil, where'd you go? You said Western Boone community didn't do this. They didn't sign and leave. 204. We didn't want to give you your own decal from the Boosters. All right, this would be a certificate for a family pass for this season. Obviously, a good one. So we are ready with 233. If I would have gone too long, I'd just raise my hand anyway, because it's probably half 50-50 the person's not here. Jet's not checking the ticket. All right, we have a tumbler that Sherry has found because she buys everything that has stars on it anywhere that she goes. 263. 263. All right, last one till the end here. We have the big red Weibo star flag that hangs above Sherry's desk. It's not the actual one, but yep, donated from cheerleaders. We have 251. 251. All right, I'll get through the rest, and then you can liven them up again. Okay, a little bit of a hard transition to this, but social media, we know, large part of the world now. Most people believe everything on it. It's, you know, it's something that is a part of our lives now, part of our students' lives, and so I just would charge you with helping just make sure we monitor, you know, what is going on social media. Again, we want to hold a student athlete to a higher standard, so we hold them, yes, to a higher standard academically. We hold them to a higher standard, you know, in you know, certain things that, you know, whether it's you know, behavior and all of that, and social media is a part of that. You know, so I guess I charge you with paying attention to that and doing your best to help communicate to them that is seen. And we know this day and age, you know, we just saw, I'm going to forget the pitcher, the Milwaukee Brewers pitcher from the All-Star game, MLB All-Star game, who made some comments, not sensitive comments on Twitter when he was in high school. And he plays in Major League Baseball All-Star game. I guess nobody really ever dug into him too much, you know. But here he is on a big stage, so people start looking at his Twitter account. And they start going back to when he was 17 years old. They start seeing the things that he tweeted. And now, you know, he's having to live with that. And he's having to answer that today, you know, at 25, 26 years old. So these are things that don't leave you, and we see example after example of that. So I don't know employers that don't look at it now. If you want to get scholarships, if you want to go play in college, coaches are going to look at it. If you want to get a scholarship, you want to go to the military, you want to get an academic scholarship, admissions is going to look at it. So anyway, you know, that speeches we give them, but if you can help with that and give those real life examples, we'd appreciate it. Final Forums, we've talked about it. One of the largest reasons I like it is because of the communication tool. I sent everybody in here an email about this meeting. We got that? We did not get it. I sent it to like 534 parents, okay? If you're on Final Forums, you got it, I would think. Can somebody raise their hand and tell me that they got it? Thank you. Because the only person I saw was the one person shaking their head that they didn't get it. So I don't know if they're not on Final Forums yet. But the Final Forums is a great tool for this. I can send it to just spring athletes, just fall athletes. Our coaches can send it just an email directly to you. They can send an email to the players. They can send an email to their whole team. We've had Team Snap, we've had Remind, we've had all of these things in the past. There are coaches that are still going to want to use GroupMe and things like that for quick things. But we've instructed them that if it's information, mass information, important information that needs to go to parents, they're to do it through Final Forms. The football team, for instance, I know that they're keeping, the high school football team is keeping attendance on it. And Coach Pelly's putting, some nice little comments in there about reasons people aren't there and this and that. And that email's going directly to parents. And it's amazing. In 5 minutes, he's getting a call from a parent like, whether that reason the kid gave wasn't true or, just to confirm it, whatever it is. But it gives direct contact to you with the coaches. So it's a great tool for that. Last year we went through Harmony and we made rosters. Well, I didn't. Luke did. He went through and took every roster and pulled every parent contact into rosters. And when we had a cancellation or we had an update, we sent it just to that team. Because I know there's some parent, you just don't want to see all these emails. So at Final Forms, we don't have to do that. When you sign up, you click that, your son or daughter's in soccer, then we can just send it right to soccer if we want. So it's a very beneficial tool. If you're in Final Forms and you have an active email that you've put in there, you're going to get these emails. If you're having any issue with it, check spam. Sometimes those filters catch it, but once you open it up, that is the tool we'll use. I'll send mass cancellations out, schedule updates. Any pertinent information is going to go through there if we can help it. So a great tool for communication. This is in our handbook, the student-athlete handbook. I won't take long with it, but, you're going to have these coaches meetings, and everybody's going to say, and it I don't want it to be taken lightly. Like, if a coach says, hey, I'm an open book, I'll talk to you, just, maybe not right after a game. That's about the only time where they should not return a phone call, where they should not return an email, where they should not set up a meeting with you is the night of the game. You give them until the next morning. You want to talk to them. They should work with you on that. If not, then we will help that process. But as we start out, before you get to that, there should be some steps. We want to teach accountability. We want to teach student athletes how to voice opinions, how to approach a person and talk to them about their feelings and their needs and, their perspective, and I guess not have the battle fought for them. I'm a parent, and my kids are just starting sports, and it's going to be hard, at times. But it meant so much to me when one of my players approached me with an issue they had or that they wanted to talk about, rather than the first time I hear about it is their parent calling me. So it's just taking a step, see if they can express that. Now, if things don't get resolved, then okay, then it goes to you. And then if there's still some issues, then it goes to my office to try to help mediate and work the process through. But I charge our student athletes, and I have our coaches try to do it as well. Like if there's an issue that they have, try to address it ahead of time. And there's always, sometimes there's this overriding concern that, if I do that, it's going to be held against me. If I'm a parent and if I speak up, it's going to be held against me. If we feel that way, then we can, I'll try to help with that. We don't have coaches that are going to do that are going to hold it against the kid for having the values to communicate their feelings to them. And if we do, then that would be something we would need to deal with. But so I charge you with that on just having them work through that and then kind of take the step-by-step process in communication with coaches. At the end of the day, having been a coach and knowing, the work that goes into that and the time away from, families and how you think of these kids as, extensions of your family. Like, our coaches want our athletes to succeed. Our coaches put the time and effort in. They want that. And I believe that, and I support them on that. So anything we can do to help with the communication process, we'll gladly do it. This is just a course that, we're going to bypass, but this goes on the website, this PowerPoint, and if you wanted to go click on that link, it would take you to a positive sport parenting video that the National Federation of High School Sports puts out there, that kind of gives you some communication tools and ways to go about communicating with coaches and the athletic department if needed. So this will be a resource that will be on the website. Okay, Champions of Character is supported by the IHSAA. Sportsmanship is big to me, big to us as a school, and big to the athletic department. Basically, the IHSAA gives you a sportsmanship score throughout the year. If you have yellow cards and technicals and ejections and things like that, your sportsmanship score gets drained. You need to have coaches and athletes that are going to act the right way, that are going to, the captains are going to talk to the officials, they're going to talk to the umpires, they're going to act the right way, there's not going to use foul language, all of this. We read, and before every varsity contest, we read a sportsmanship statement. It's read by an athlete, and I found it to be, a pretty moving thing, to watch the first time you see it. This last year, we were one of the schools to not only have 100% sportsmanship by the IHSA, we had 105. Got 105 because I went to a conference that gives you 5 points. But with that, you can't get higher than that. I've not known anybody to get higher than that. I don't know. Maybe there's another conference out there that gets 5 more points. But we didn't have people being ejected. And one piece of this that's important that we as parents have to keep in mind is, the sportsmanship score and then the Team Pride award. If you actually look at that Team Pride sign, it says no ejections by players, coaches, or fans. So how we act as fans can also play a role in this. But the IHSA only gives out these banners to so many schools. They have to have 100 points, and then they have to meet some other criteria. And from what it looks like, what I've been told, and I think August 7th, tomorrow, they finalize that, is that we'll be one of the schools in the state from last year. They got the Character of Champions banner that we can hang in the gym, which is a pretty neat thing, and another accomplishment by our athletes and our coaches and our fans. So I appreciate that, and we'll try to strive to continue to do that and meet that. Okay, as I finish here, the Athletic Ambassador Program is something that we've put in place from a leadership perspective for our athletes. It's going to comprise always of 14 athletes. We wonder why 14. You can fit 14 on an activity bus, one of those white buses, and a driver, so it just works out good. Having 15 could be a problem, 14. So that's the number. In all honesty, you wonder where we choose those things. But it's going to be about, community leadership and also trying to work with the youth in our corporation also on some core values of responsibility and character. We're going to have these student athletes go. They have to make up lessons, and then they go to the elementary and work with the 3rd and 4th graders that working with the principals of the elementaries to have them go and teach these lessons. And they'll have the same classroom every time, so they'll become connected to these student athletes. And that's something that I think is going to be very neat. The sportsmanship statements now will be read by these 14 student athletes, which from a logistical perspective is nice because we had to find one before every game last year. So now I know, all right, that's the soccer player that's doing it. It makes life a little bit easier on logistical. But the goal is to get them out in the community, do as much as possible. We took them to the IHSA Leadership Conference. As you can see, the Sagamore Conference has a Sportsmanship Summit. We'll take them to that. And then they're going to come back, and they're going to lead, for instance, our student our student body, like our fans, why am I going blank? Student fans. What do we want to call them, Luke? cheer block. There you go. My goodness. I'm almost done, I promise. I'm losing my mind. Cheer block. They're going to come back, and they're going to teach our cheer block on how to act responsibly to officials, how to act responsibly to opposing athletes. So we wanted to expand past these 14 student athletes, right? They're just kind of the leaders. We're going to consider them, the initial face of the athletic program, and then allow that to spread out amongst the rest of our students and athletes. So really neat thing. It's going to be spearheaded and sponsored by Jamie Comer and Luke Pearson. We're really excited about it. That's the sportsmanship statement. Many of us have heard it already. This year, the athletic ambassadors are writing it themselves. They're going to get together and they're going to put a little twist on it. This is my writing, but I want them to own it. So if they're going to read it, they're going to own it. They really struggled last year with the words interscholastic athletics. That didn't go over very well on the microphone, so maybe they might change that. But they're going to write that, and you'll hear that a lot throughout the year. Okay, the Weibo Cafe, which is ran by Mrs. Taylor, is something that's offered after school. So again, especially with junior high, there's lots of junior high athletes to stay after. There are some things that are offered in the cafeteria at a certain cost that they can have while they're waiting in the cafeteria for practices, or if they're getting ready to get on the bus. These are some things that they can have. If teams want to coordinate with her to have sandwiches made and food like that for games and travel, we have our teams take one coordinator, one parent, and do that. A good majority of it is based off that time frame after school where they can buy some things to hold them over for practice. Okay, strength and conditioning we've already talked about, but I think it's this pillar of why we are as successful as we are. So student athletes, we want our student athletes in strength and conditioning class, so we want to facilitate that in any way we can. And so we'll help with that. We'll facilitate that. We want them in the strength and conditioning programs in the summer. The benefit is there. The writing on the wall is there. As you go through this, as Luke scrolls through it, one more. The numbers have increased. When they started this about 6 years ago, there was 80 student athletes, and now you can go and you can triple that, which is a remarkable thing to have seen happen and grow. Even just the jump from like girls in the summer, for instance, the jump has been good, and it's a large part of why we have success. Okay, I want to have Courtney talk real quick just about some basic things, introduce herself so you can have a name with a face. If something happens to your athlete, then she can kind of talk you through just quickly how that process might work, and then we'll go into Jennifer Bales with the Booster Club.
All right. So I'm Courtney. I'm the new athletic trainer. This has been a great transition in. I've really enjoyed the athletes, even students who are not athletes. I really do truly mean this, that this is the most polite school I have ever been in. And I always find it humorous too that you have kids that'll come in with injuries outside of sports all the time. And almost all of them have been related to farm animals or working on a farm. And I'm like, I can really respect that. It wasn't because they jumped on a moving vehicle in the parking lot or whatever it is. And I really enjoy that. So I have really, really enjoyed working here so far. I believe he said my contact information is on the website and then also up there. At some point, I also do give out my cell phone number if you need me. When it comes to injuries, I would rather call the parents than text. That way there's nothing lost in translation, and you can ask me any questions you need answered. If we're talking about an on-field injury at a sporting event, typically what I do is find the parent if I know them, or if I don't, I have another athlete help me point out who the parent is, and I'll just call them down and talk to them. If it's something that's not that big of a deal and can wait till after the game, I'll do that. And then I kind of tell you how to maybe manage the injury, or what else we need to do with them, or if they need to go get an x-ray. We go kind of that route. So if it's something that happens at school during practice, I will call you if it's a big deal. If it's an ankle sprain that I kind of think we can ice and tape up and it's not a huge deal, I usually send the kid home with information. But typically that's kind of how it goes. As far as concussions, the concussion protocol and all that, I've been impact testing the kids. We do it every 2 years. So I usually start with my freshmen and juniors. And I did a lot of them last week. I'll have more coming up that maybe missed last week or whatever it is. That gives us our baseline, what their brain is functioning at cognitively without a concussion. Then, hopefully this doesn't happen, but say in the event of a concussion, they are re-impact tested. We compare the baseline to what their, concussed test is like, and that kind of tells us where they're at and if they can return to their sport or not. So I have handouts for parents and athletes in the event of a concussion that gives you information, but I also kind of inform you right then and there too, what you can and cannot do with them, and if the symptoms were to worsen, what to do. Sometimes if they have, like, let's say a headache, and it's not really all that bad, but it's kind of staying right there, I may have you monitor it, and then the next morning let's see how they feel, because sometimes that goes away and it's just, it's not saying they have a concussion, but it could be an indicator of a concussion. Let's kind of mess with that and not totally get freaked out immediately. So that's where I kind of go with concussion protocol. And my team physician is always at the football games. I believe he will be coming to basketball games this year. And then also we have injury checks every Monday at 3:30. And usually it's kids that I have seen and I kind of want him to see them too. Or like today I had some that just showed up and I was like, you know what, the doctor's coming, let's just have him see you. And we kind of went from there. So it's been working out great. The other things that I wanted to cover, if you take your kid to see a physician, it's important that they bring back a doctor's note, because when they're here, they're under my care. But as soon as they leave and see like a physical therapist or a doctor, they are now under their care, and I've got to follow what their orders are. So that way I know what if they can practice but have restrictions, or they can't practice, because we don't want to further injure them if they say, hey, they can't practice, but then so-and-so slides by and gets into practice without me seeing them, which happens. So that kind of eliminates that, I guess, non-communication part. But let's see here. Also, if your kid, especially during the winter, obviously we see a lot of flu, colds, that kind of thing. If you want me to even see your child for that, to kind of make sure respiratory-wise, I think they're okay to go back. Or if they've been seen by a doctor and the doctor's cleared, and that's fine too. Just kind of make sure they're ready to go and they can run up and down the court or whatever it is, and not have any issues. And then the Final Forms thing has actually been great. I've been able to get a roster off of there, but as I've been going through the roster, I've seen your guys' notes on what your child may or may not have. So that kind of tells me if so-and-so's have a breathing issue, I can pull up their medical thing and, oh, he or she has asthma that I didn't know about, or is allergic to bee stings, whatever it is. Also, I've had a couple kids that had inhalers, but they locked them in their backpacks in a locker room or something. I don't know if we can get, I don't know, I need to read the kind of laws on this area, but usually I can carry an inhaler, EpiPen, whatever it is we need, and then I can either give it back to them and they store it, or whatever it may be. That way we have it right there with us in case of emergency, because there was a kid that I thought was having an asthma attack, and I was like, well, where's your inhaler? And he says, in my locker. And I'm like, well, I don't know where your locker is. I don't know your combination. and this could go south really quick. So we got him calmed down, and fortunately it was just, I think he was worked up over the conditioning part of things. So that's that. And then the other thing I want to try to do, I need to see how to kind of go about this. I may have to kind of clear it with parents, Jeremy, and maybe teachers. If your child has a study hall that kind of falls later in the day, or a weights class, and they need therapy that I can do with them, I'm hoping that we can kind of coordinate where I can do that with them, so I don't ever want any of the athletes to feel rushed after school, like we've got to hurry through this so that they can get out to their sport. I want to kind of take my time with them, and let's see if we can solve whatever ailments they have, or gives me time to kind of evaluate them, instead of, because as a high school athletic trainer, especially when you have junior high, you kind of feel rushed sometimes with your athletes, like look at them real quick and then you've got to run off somewhere else, and I don't like that. I don't feel like that's good care. So I'm hoping I can kind of coordinate and it be okay with everybody to kind of do that, and then just go from there. But I look forward to all the seasons, especially with really nice, polite kids. That helps. And parents, too. I've had great experiences with parents here. So,
All right. Thanks, Courtney. And she's around every day, so if you need anything, you can easily get in contact with her. And like I said, I think when you're dealing with a certain injury, then you can go back and forth from a cell phone perspective and be able to have easy contact. I want to have Jen Bales come up and talk about the Booster Club and some of the important things that they do. They're a big asset to the athletic department and allow us to do a lot of the things for our student athletes that we're able to do.
So I'm going to move quickly because Mr. Dexter already pointed out that I turned in 13 slides, and he thought that was too many. We are the Athletic Boosters. We exist to support all athletes across all sports, junior high and high school. And we do that. We help financially. We help raise money to fund our awards, trophies, pins, patches, varsity letters, and certificates. We also last year started funding the athletic training supplies. And we've already paid for those yet for this first half of the year. Courtney wrote out what she needed, and we paid the bill for that. So that's fantastic. We also provide 2 $500 scholarships. This last year, Reese Thompson and Brooke Cummins were our scholarship recipients, one boy and one girl. It is a blind draw. You fill out the application, you turn it in, and we draw a guy and a girl's name. This next year, it's going to be a $750 scholarship, and we are happy to be able to raise that with hopes eventually being able to go up to $1,000, but for now it will be $750. We maintain and operate the 3 concession stands, and we seek out volunteers to staff those concession stands and the ticket booths. We run the main indoor concession stand, we run the soccer concession stand, and we run the baseball, softball concession stand. We do not run football, and we do not run junior high concession stand. Those are ran by the band boosters. And we do give monetary support to the athletic department. So this is our board. I would like to point out I made an error when I was doing my slides. Kristen Dunn was last year's treasurer. She was fantastic, but she moved on, and Mandy Richardson is this year's treasurer, and I made that mistake when I made the slides. So we have our executive board, we have our membership committee, and we have our athletic program committee. I would like to point out that everything is closed. We're not taking any more spotlight ads. We're ready to go to print. The fall athletic program is 70 pages long, and it is fantastic. That we took in like 30 spotlight ads, which are ads that you as parents had turned in for your kids. It's spectacular, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and see it in person. I've looked through the slides so many times. I'm eager to see it. Then we have class representatives for each grade level. We have what's called a caller, and we have what is called a closer. The caller's job is to find the volunteers, and the closer's job is to close the concession stands. And we are set out on a 6-week rotation. This week is Boosters Week. Then we'll start with Senior Week, junior week, sophomore week, 9th grade week, all the way down to 7th grade, and then we start back over with 12th grade week. So if you are a parent in that week, it is your, I hate to say responsibility, but we ask that you help us staff the concession stand and the ticket booths for that designated week. So that is our executive board. And this is, you can go ahead and change the slide. This is my 9th year on the board. It is my 3rd year as the president. And one of the things that kept coming up in the earlier years was that they didn't feel that with the callers and the closers and the executive board, they didn't feel that all sports across the board were well represented. And oftentimes one sport would feel like they didn't have a voice or another one did. So we decided last year that we were going to add a representative, a parent representative from each high school sport. And so that is what we have. We have all of our slots covered, except for we do not have a boys soccer parent. So if you are a parent of a boys soccer player and you would like to represent the boys soccer team on our board, we'd love to have you. If you're interested, see me after the meeting, send me an email, and I can tell you what that entails. How do we raise money? We raise money through our membership drive. We have a table set up in the cafeteria, and there's information specifically about that. We do fundraising dinners during football and basketball games. We sell merchandise, such as the signs that we're giving. We're giving a one away here in a little bit. We do 50-50 raffles, but almost all of our money that we earn comes from our concession stand profits, and that is why it's so important that we have volunteers to work in the concession stand so that we can have those concession stands open. That's how we make our money. Last year, we gave back a total of $27,000, well, almost $28,000 back to the athletic program. And I'm very proud of that. We run very much like a business. Kristen was our treasurer last year and did a fantastic job of keeping things in our budget. And as a result of that, we were able to give away some money. So we purchased about $8,800 in awards and trophies and patches and athletic supplies. I don't have that written up there. We gave away $1,000 in scholarships, and we were able to do, over the year, $18,000 in donations to the athletic department. And last year was what we call, I don't really know what we call it, but like the way the scheduling works out, we have years that we have a lot of home events, and then the next year we will have a lot of away events, and a lot of home events and away events, and it alternates every year. Last year was our heavy year for home events, and so that's why we made so much more money in concessions, and we were able to then in turn donate more money. This coming year is a lighter year, so I don't anticipate that we'll be donating close to $28,000 to athletics. Historically, it's been more in the anywhere from $13,000 to $17,000 range on those light years. How can you help? First and foremost, we would like for you to join our Athletic Booster membership. When you join, you get your name put in the program. In the fall program is an insert because we take memberships all the way up until the 31st of December. In the winter and the spring programs, it's an actual page in the program. We have membership forms are available on the website, and we also have some out at the table tonight if you'd like to take them with you. You can pay for it tonight, or you can send it in. If you are a parent of a senior, and in order for your child to be eligible for the scholarship, you need to have your membership form turned in by New Year's Eve. We ask that everybody volunteers at least one time, either in a concession stand or a ticket booth. I want to touch on that really quickly. We are going to need about 300 volunteers this year. We needed around 350 last year, got it done. I heard earlier we have 434 athletes, and we need 300 slots filled. And so I would really like to see if everybody that could volunteered at least once, we would knock that out in no time. We do sell t-shirts, decals, and bracelets. Those are examples right there of the things that we sell. We now accept credit and debit cards. That's something new this year. We only accept them at the main indoor concession stand. None of the other concession stands will do that for now. Eventually, I do see that we will do it eventually in soccer and eventually in baseball and on the softball concession stands, but I don't know that it will be this year. We have to purchase a tablet, and there are just other things that go involved with that. And we want to be smart with our money. As I said a minute ago, last year we staffed 351 ticket takers and concession positions, and I want to point out that we staffed that with only 125 people. So there were so many people that did 4 and 5 and 6 times, and that goes back to that with roughly 440 athletes, and we only need 300 slots. If you can take your turn, it's so much appreciated. Everybody's help is needed, and high school athletes are encouraged to volunteer as well. So what will happen? Roughly 3 weeks before your week, if you're a parent of a junior or a senior, roughly 3 weeks beforehand, you will get a Sign Up Genius link sent to your email. And it will look something like this. In the email, you'll look through and see, this is one from last year. So if you see your name up there, you didn't really sign up for anything yet. It's from last year. So in the email, you'll click to see on the link, and then you can look to see what you can help with. You click it, you submit it, and either 24 or 48 hours before what you signed up for, you'll get an email from Sign Up Genius reminding you. It is free. It's free for us to use, and it's free for you to use. You just have to set up an account if you don't have one already. But many churches, I know 4-H uses Sign Up Genius, so a lot of people already have that. So like I said, boosters, we're covering this first week. Senior week is next week, and Melissa Wilkinson is the caller. So if you're a parent of a senior, as I am, I've already gotten that email, and we have started signing up already. Then junior week, you'll get a call from Mandy, sophomores from Angie, freshman Harley, 8th grade Kylene, and in 7th grade, your email will be coming from April Shepard. And then we start over with senior week. These are the 125 parents that volunteered for us last year. I keep close track of this, as does, and then I check it against the Sign Up Genius to be sure that it is correct. And so as you can see, we have lots and lots of people who volunteered multiple times. We have students, we have people who have children. The Ragsdale family, they're fantastic. They don't even have children in high school anymore, and they volunteer for us when I'm in a pinch. I can call Eric and his wife, and they'll help. So with that being said, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come up and speak in front of you. And I work with Courtney, and I got a chance to meet her before she met any of the athletes. And I was excited to meet her because I said, you know, we are a special group of kids, and I was really excited for her to get to meet your kids, my kids, our kids. So thank you.
All right, thank you. That's again, a lot goes into that, and a lot goes into being able to put on the events that we do. And the Booster Club's a great support to us. I don't know if you typed every one of those names and numbers, but I did see your name, for instance, has 27 next to it. So there are the executive board and some of them that are very committed to it, that put in an unbelievable amount of time. That it would be really nice, if we could spread that out a bit more. So, just if you have an opportunity to help, sign up for 1 or 2, and that'll get us through. The last thing I want to make sure, and everybody in here now, and every class from now on now falls under the same lettering system. Last year was the last class that was could still be on the point system. It is now for everybody in the corporation. You receive a varsity letter in any sport. As a high school athlete, you are given that WB patch that again is provided by Boosters, and then you have an opportunity to purchase the letter jacket yourself at a very discounted cost. The Booster Club purchases those in bulk. and then they discount the cost to you, so you're not paying the large sum of what it would be if you went out and did it yourself. But now just one varsity letter will get you that opportunity. You have the letter, you can go purchase the jacket at any point once you have that letter. So that's the system now on jackets for every class. Okay. Again, this will be posted on the website, and I'll put it just right underneath the video. But these are the email addresses of our head coaches. And then on the next slide, a lot of our sports are active on social media, and these are the Twitter handles. And then I guess it's a cheerleading thing to be more active on Instagram, right, Jet? So cheerleaders have gone to Instagram, and everybody else is Twitter. But those are those accounts, and follow them. And again, they get us summaries, and we get it on the website, and you keep getting information from that. And hopefully that's been a good source for you. At any point you need anything from the athletic department, doors open. If you call, you leave a message, I call back. If you did that last year, you should be able to reiterate that that gets done. If you need something, stop in. Sherry, Luke, and myself are here to help in any way that we can. So I appreciate you sitting through this and being here. I want to make sure that we finish with more of the giveaways, which we may have lost Sherry, but we can do it. All right, you ready, Jet? Let's go with it. Let's go with